I was Invictus, I would just think, enough. You know, when are we going to focus on what you're actually coming for? And what's going to be interesting is, and mark my words on this, is this now a private visit? Who's funding this visit? Because if they're being funded via that particular charity, one might suggest they're not getting their money's worth.
She has such a bad reputation, and she needs that proximity to the royal family so that she can continue to play Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
Prince Harry's total breakdown and break from reality has continued overnight, because not only is he breaking down in tears again during his holiday to Portugal, he has now leaked a private security document to Chris Shipp of Woke ITV, which has been broadcast to the world. And the nutty thing about this is he is literally saying, I'm a terrorist target. Come and attack me. Come and attack my children.
I've got a message for Harry and Meghan. No one in Britain gives a rat's backside whether you come or not. You guys are over. You're all very excited by that. Then suddenly, last Friday into Saturday, they start saying, Harry says, oh, well, I've just found out effectively said, I just found out I'm not going to get armed police protection. That armed police protection I've been fighting in the courts to get for the last 2-3 years. In that case, I'm not going to bring the kids back, and I'm not bringing Meghan back. King, heartbroken, bewildered, distraught.
Time is running out, and behind palace walls, a quiet desperation is turning into something far more explosive than anyone expected. Because what looked like a simple reunion is now spiraling into a storm of questions, contradictions, and a growing sense that something isn't being said out loud. Time is becoming more valuable with every passing day, and King Charles knows it. That truth hangs heavy in the air, unspoken but impossible to ignore. The hope was simple Prince Harry would return even briefly, just long enough for King Charles to finally meet his grandchildren again after 4 long years. A moment that should have been emotional, healing, almost sacred. But instead, something shifted, something subtle, something that didn't make headlines but maybe should have. Because while the world was distracted by loud debates about security, another moment unfolded quietly, almost carefully hidden in plain sight. And those who noticed it, they didn't see coincidence, they saw intention. The royal family gathered in Scotland, a historic moment. The Order of the Thistle service centuries of tradition, legacy, symbolism. King Charles was there. Prince William was there.
What Diana always wanted, you know, she always wanted the spare to be there in support of the heir. Yet he's...
What we have with Meghan and Harry is this endless battle of self-pity and victimhood and, oh, it's not going well and all of this sort of stuff, you know. And now Harry, as we know, is still back.
That tells them that he's safe. There's no way that if they had any intelligence that stressed that he was in jeopardy or...
Shelled out yet more money on a 40-page risk assessment by a security organisation that he's paid for. And he's now presented this to the government, and it says that the Duke of...
The core of the monarchy stood together, united in duty. The night before, a private dinner intimate, exclusive, reserved only for those still firmly inside the circle. And then... the date. Princess Diana's 65th birthday. A day that should have been filled with reflection, memory, maybe even quiet unity. Prince William stood there, carrying history on his shoulders. But someone was missing, someone many expected to see beside him. And that absence, it echoed louder than any speech. People noticed. Of course they did. And they didn't believe it was accidental. They saw it as a choice, a line drawn without words.
Meghan is concerned about, because she had absolutely no problem, P. Dinah, traveling to Chicago on her own, going to Colombia, going to Nigeria. I think Meghan knows there's absolutely no genuine threat here, but she doesn't want to be embarrassed. So it's much better playing into Harry's paranoia. And this is something that we've seen throughout their relationship, you know.
Why does Taylor Swift get this armed security? Well, because she had to cancel a bunch of shows prior to her London show because there were legitimate threats, because there was a terror attack on an Ariana Grande concert in the United Kingdom. The two don't compare. Taylor Swift is bringing in millions of dollars to the economy. Prince Harry is there for a PR boost.
That's the question many people are asking.
If it was my loved ones, I wouldn't care if there was a team of 50 MI5 and MI6 agents continually surrounding my family. I wouldn't care. If they had the Army, Navy, and Air Force escorting us places, a threat is a threat. I would not risk anything happening to those I love. There is no guarantee that the security team will be able to save your life in an attack. So he either believes that he is in terrible danger or he...
Because Prince William didn't just lose a mother, he lost moments that can never be replaced. Watching Princess Diana as a grandmother, seeing his children grow up with their uncle present. Those are not small things, those are fractures. And yet, Prince William continues. Public duties, ceremonies, standing tall on the very day that carries the deepest personal weight. Meanwhile, far away, Prince Harry continues to dominate headlines, but not in the way anyone expected. Because now the focus has shifted. It's no longer just about distance, it's about conflict, pressure, and the quiet strain building around King Charles, whose health and responsibilities are constantly under scrutiny. The tension is spreading, not contained, not controlled. It's touching everyone closest to the center. And at the heart of it all sits one issue that refuses to go away: security. Prince Harry wants armed police protection in the UK, not private guards, not temporary arrangements, official state-level security. The kind reserved for King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Princess Catherine. But here's where it starts to unravel. Because for years, that request has been reviewed again and again and again by Ravik, the committee responsible for making these decisions. And each time, the answer has been the same. No credible threat, no justification for restoring that level of protection. That's the official conclusion. Repeatedly, consistently, firmly, but Prince Harry didn't accept it. Instead, a private report 40 pages long was submitted, arguing the opposite, claiming serious threats, demanding reconsideration, almost like saying, look again, you missed something. But did they? Because critics are asking a sharper question. If the danger is so severe, why do the actions not always match the fear? Travel to Portugal, a visit to Ukraine, public appearances in crowded spaces, no incidents, no escalation. So what is real here? The threat or the narrative? And that's where the story starts to twist. Because this isn't just about security anymore, it's about consistency, about credibility, about a growing gap between what is being said and what is being seen. And just when it feels like the situation couldn't get any more tangled, another layer begins to surface quietly at first, then all at once pulling the spotlight away from reconciliation and straight into a storm of unanswered questions that refuse to stay buried. Because while the debate over security continues to dominate everything around Prince Harry, something else is happening in parallel, something that feels less visible but just as revealing. And that is the shifting perception of everything connected to Prince Harry and Meghan. The attention moves toward the entertainment world, where expectations were once sky high. The partnership with Netflix had created enormous anticipation, headlines that stretched across continents, promises of projects that would redefine everything. But now, the narrative feels different. Slower, uneven projects that were announced with confidence seem to be stuck in a kind of limbo. Pearl disappeared before it even had a chance to exist. Live to Lead arrived, but not in the way many expected, with Prince Harry and Meghan positioned more in the background than at the center. Other adaptations that were widely discussed, they remain just that, discussed but not seen. And when people begin comparing timelines, when they notice how quickly other studios move from idea to execution while these projects remain stalled, the questions become sharper, louder, harder to ignore. At the same time, moments that should feel simple begin to carry unexpected weight. A possible cameo, a brief return to something familiar, but Meghan declining an appearance that once would have seemed almost inevitable. Why step away from something that introduced Meghan to the world? Was it a personal decision or something shaped by deeper unseen influences? There is no confirmation, only speculation. But speculation has a way of growing when silence fills the gaps. And then the focus shifts again, this time toward relationships, those visible and those that seem to be quietly fading. Public appearances alongside major figures appear less frequent. The presence that once felt constant now feels distant. Some interpret it as a natural evolution. Others see something else entirely, a cooling of enthusiasm, a subtle withdrawal that no one is officially acknowledging. But even as those questions swirl, something far more grounded, far more serious begins to pull attention back: the Invictus Games. The very foundation that once symbolized purpose, resilience, and unwavering support for veterans now finds itself caught in the middle of a different kind of conversation. And it starts with a single story, one that refuses to be ignored. Scott Snow, a name that has become part of a larger discussion. A spinal injury, a search for answers, attempts to reach out to Prince Harry and the organization, attempts that, according to Scott Snow, never received a response. No confirmation, no clarity, just silence. And silence in a story like this doesn't stay silent for long, because that one account begins to expand into something bigger, a wider debate about priorities, about focus, about whether the attention surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan has, at times, overshadowed the very people the Invictus Games were created to support. Questions about funding, about transparency, about governance, about whether the spotlight has shifted too far away from the veterans and onto everything else surrounding the headlines. At the same time, a contrast begins to form, one that supporters are quick to point out. Princess Catherine returning to public life after treatment, stepping back into duties with quiet determination. Prince William continuing engagements, maintaining a presence that feels steady, controlled, almost deliberately understated. Two very different approaches placed side by side, inviting comparison whether anyone wants it or not. And then, just as the conversation seems to settle into one direction, it shifts again sharply towards something with immediate consequences. A court decision. The Daily Mail case. Years of arguments building toward a single outcome that could arrive at any moment. The timing? Unpredictable but potentially explosive. Because Prince Harry could learn the result while in the United Kingdom, right in the middle of everything else, public appearances, Invictus-related events, and the ever-present possibility of family contact. Imagine that moment. The decision lands. The reaction unfolds. And the world is watching, closer than ever. At the same time, pressure is building around the Invictus Games themselves. Questions are no longer isolated, they are connected, forming a pattern that people are beginning to recognize. Some are calling for clarity, others are demanding change. Names are even being mentioned as possible future figures, not as confirmed plans, but as signals of how far the conversation has moved. And now, everything is converging. The legal battle, the security debate, the future of the Invictus Games, the fragile possibility of reconciliation, all of it unfolding at once, all of it connected in ways that are becoming harder to separate.